Iran Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's aide has warned that the country will have to procure nuclear weapons if attacked by the United States or its allies. Now, this comes following US President Donald Trump's threat to bomb the country. The development comes after Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei vowed to hit back if President Trump carried out bombing in Tehran if the country doesn't negotiate over its nuclear program. Now, Khamenei's advisor Ali Larijani said, and I quote here, "We're not moving towards nuclear weapons, but if you do something wrong in the Iranian nuclear issue, you will force Iran, in fact, to move towards that because it has the right to defend itself." Now, the comment comes after Tehran launched a formal complaint with the UN over what it calls US President Donald Trump's reckless and belligerent threats, which Tehran described as violations of international law. Listen in.
آمریکایی‌ها در منطقه حداقل در اطراف ایران 10 پایگاه دارن. 50,000 نفر نیرو هم دارن. یعنی در یک اتاقک شیشه‌ای نشستن. کسی که تو اتاقک شیشه‌ای هست سمت کسی سنگپرانی نمی‌کنه.
External Affairs Minister Jaishankar met with Netherlands Foreign Minister Caspar Veldkamp in New Delhi on Monday, where they discussed expanding bilateral cooperation in sectors such as trade, investments and innovation. The two also explored new opportunities in semiconductors, green hydrogen, education and talent flows as well. MEA Jaishankar expressed optimism about the growing ties between India and the Netherlands, which have been fostering strong collaboration in various fields. On the other hand, Veldkamp, on his first official visit to India, in fact, emphasized the importance of strengthening the two nations' cooperation in light of today's global geopolitical challenges. Bangladesh's interim government advisor Mohammad Yunus has tried to jab at New Delhi by issuing a veiled threat that India's northeastern states, while appealing to China to extend in the region. Mr. Yunus, who was on a 4-day visit to Beijing last week, asked Beijing to make an extension, saying that the 7 sister states in India are landlocked by Bangladesh to its west. The tongue-in-cheek remark, which defense analysts have called distasteful, surfaced on social media upon Mohammad Yunus's return back to Dhaka. Now, in the video, very interestingly, he's seen urging the Chinese government to extend business in the region by establishing a base in Bangladesh and indirectly stifling India's northeastern states, since they, in Yunus's own words, are landlocked. Now, this as Dhaka tries hard to arrange a standalone meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Bangladesh interim government's chief advisor Mohammad Yunus in Bangkok this week. Meanwhile, Pakistan's PM Shehbaz Sharif has also jumped into the ring, reiterating his invitation to Yunus to visit Islamabad. Listen into what Yunus said. The high-rise building in Bangkok has collapsed, leaving multiple trapped under the rubble. Officials who have exclusively spoken to NDTV state that they have located at least 5 to 6 bodies as of now, but no vital signs have been detected today. Rescue teams are working through the clock to retrieve these bodies as they race against time in the ongoing operations. Meanwhile, in neighboring Myanmar, the death toll has exceeded 2,700. But of course, due to military junta's control on information in the country, the true scale of devastation still remains unknown. But we are tracking this closely. In fact, my colleague Vishal Vivek has been on ground ever since Friday evening, getting us the latest update vigorously since the past 4 days. Vishal, what's the latest on the ground? The crucial 72-hour window has passed. What are you picking up?
So the latest is that the death toll will be updated in any moment. 5 to 6 bodies have probably been spotted at the top of the rubble. I would request my camera person Rohit Vishwakarma to top at the top of the rubble. That is where the authorities have been at it for the last 1 hour or so. They have told the media that they have located at least 5 to 6 bodies near that area. They have yet to pull out any bodies, but they have said that there are 5 to 6 bodies somewhere near the top of the rubble. Yesterday they had told me that there might be someone alive in the same area, but sadly that's not the case anymore. They have not picked up any vital signs since last evening actually. It's been almost 24 hours since they picked up any vital signs. So that paints a really grim picture and a sad picture, but that is what the reality is at the moment. And also the fact that ever since they have stopped picking up these vital signs, they have speeded up this process of removing the debris. So the size of the overall debris, which looked like a 4 to 5 story building itself, has now been reduced to almost like a 3-story building. So the size of the rubble has reduced, or the overall size, but the search for victims or the bodies continues, because it was such a huge building. It was a 33-story building that even to retrieve bodies is quite difficult, because it has huge beams, it has huge floors that caved in, it's like a pancake, as we've been reporting. So it's quite difficult to pull out even dead bodies. And people have been walking in conjunction from across the world, from US to Israel. So yeah, so that is what the latest is, and we'll have some new updates in the next hour or so, when the official death count might be updated.
Vishal, you mentioned that they are speeding up the process. Are they bringing in any new equipment? We saw the green berets from the US. We saw an Israeli team. We also saw sniffer dogs. Are they bringing in any new equipment? What are they doing right now?
So that's exactly right. So what they've done is, you see these big, at least 10-story long cranes. I would request Rohit, my camera person, to point to the big cranes right there. They've brought in at least 3 to 4 of these huge cranes today. Before, about 24 hours ago, they had only about 1 of these cranes. Now they have at least 4 of these cranes. So have clearly speeded up the process, and the governor of Bangkok himself said that they are speeding up the process, hinting at the possibility that the likelihood of finding anyone alive is almost negligible now. And we had been reporting for the last 2 days, because the Bangkok police had spoken to us exclusively, and said that the possibility of finding anyone alive was almost just 1%, and that was 48 hours ago. So it's been like that ever since. No one pulled out alive, only bodies being extracted. And even that itself is a huge task right now.
Vishal, coming to the investigation front now, we know that 4 Chinese nationals were detained by Bangkok authorities on Sunday. What's the update on the investigation front?
Well, we've asked that question to the local authorities here in the last 3 to 4 hours. They have not given any clear answers on that, and the communication itself is quite difficult because of the language barrier, and also the fact that officials are not almost always available to speak. They emerge every now and then they give out the statements. So the next statement would be in the next half hour, and then we'll again field that question to them as to what's happening on the investigation front, because that is a crucial aspect of the whole story. 4 Chinese nationals were detained. Whether they have been arrested or not, that has not been announced. They were caught with 32 crucial documents that purportedly links a Chinese company to the construction of this site. So all of that will have to be seen. The official report is yet to be fielded, but the investigation is going on as we speak.
Thank you so much for getting us all of these latest updates, Vishal. Moving on. According to Chinese state media, China, Japan and South Korea have reportedly agreed to coordinate their response to US tariff. That's correct. The 3 countries are planning to coordinate their reciprocal tariff approach against Donald Trump. Now, the 3 nations held their first economic dialogue in 5 years, discussing supply chain cooperation, trade policies amid President Trump's looming tariff hikes. However, South Korea's Trade Ministry has downplayed the report, calling claims of a joint response somewhat exaggerated. The talks come ahead of Trump's April 2 Liberation Day tariff announcement, which is expected to hit key Asian exporters as well. Meanwhile, Japan, South Korea and China are pushing to finalize a regional free trade deal to counter US trade pressures. The UK government has removed more than 24,000 people with no legal rights to remain since the general election, marking the highest return rate in 8 years. Prime Minister Caspar has announced the figures at the Organised Immigration Crime Summit. where over 40 countries pledged to tackle human smuggling. The crackdown includes a 21% rise in enforced returns and the fourth largest deportation flights in UK's history. The Starmer government is also pushing for tougher laws, including seizing migrants' phones to track smugglers and tightening right-to-work checks to curb illegal employment as well. US President Donald Trump has named Richard Grenell and David Friedman as top contenders for the role of the US ambassador to the United Nations. Now, Grenell, the former envoy to Germany, in fact, and Friedman, who served as the ambassador to Israel during Trump's first term, are among nearly 30 people interested in the coveted position. Trump withdrew Representative Elise Stefanik's nomination last week, fearing her exit from Congress could weaken the Republican majority. The UN role previously held by Nikki Haley is seen as a high-profile diplomatic position. Trump is expected to announce his final pick soon. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration's top vaccine official, Peter Marks, will be resigning on Saturday. This is the most high-profile exit as the regulator after the Trump administration has undertaken an overhaul of federal health agencies as well. Marks has played a key role in developing COVID-19 vaccines during Trump's first term. Leaders from BIMSTEC nations are set to attend the upcoming summit in Bangkok from the 2nd to the 4th of April, but Myanmar's junta chief Min Aung Hlaing's participation remains uncertain. Thailand's foreign ministry cited last week's earthquake in Myanmar as a possible reason. However, he could still attend virtually. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi will also be attending the BIMSTEC summit on the 4th of April, where leaders will focus on strengthening maritime cooperation. The regional bloc, which also includes India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Myanmar and Thailand, will discuss trade, security and regional cooperation in Bangkok.